Right. So 2023 paper. Okay, so we want to finish this. Then we'll do a revision and maybe possibly 2022. Right. So 2 hour, and it's a essay paper. But though we call it essay paper, usually you don't need to write a lot of things. Okay, so that is something you have to remember. Okay, right. So let's do the first question. You get 4 questions. You have enough time. Time is not going to be an issue at all for you guys, right? So even this paper you can do it within 1 hour. So therefore, don't think about time. But when you write answers, make sure you don't write too much lengthy answers. Your best points, take it first, right? So your base point, okay? And also first introduce the point and maybe little bit of a description. Then again point, little bit of description. So that is how you want to write it because this is not like A-level exams or something. So therefore, the examiners are not very serious, very strict. So therefore, you must buy your marks by make it easier for them to give you the marks. Okay, so that is very important. So write your points directly, not indirectly, right? In short manner, and maybe little bit explain later, okay, if needed. Okay, so that is how you are supposed to write it. Right. Question number 1. A. Briefly describe. That is why these guys always say briefly describe because it's a headache, right? It's a headache for the examiners to read lengthy answers. Briefly describe, but you need to describe, but briefly. 3 key management issues that are faced by HR department in IT organizations. So this is an open question, right? It's an open question. Is it 2023 paper? Yes. It's an open question. So IT department, sorry, HR department face in an IT organization. Okay. It's an open question. There can be hundreds of answers. As long as your answer is correct, you will get the marks. Okay. So what kind of things and so number 1 is IT field is very demanding field. So therefore, I mean, not just because someone has IT degree, talented IT professionals have plenty of opportunities. So therefore, it's very difficult to retain them. So that is the biggest challenge HR department face when it comes to their employees. Because good people, of course, if you don't have the talent, skills, no one cares, right, about your degrees and so on. But if you have the talent, if you have the skills, if you have the attitude, of course, you have huge opportunities. So therefore, HR department is facing a lot of pressure. How can I retain this guy? Because this guy has a lot of opportunities. Okay, especially good people. So that is the biggest challenge I can see. Okay. So the second thing is it's difficult to manage professionals in the traditional manner because these guys also know management. These guys are skilled people. So therefore, the manage when it comes to HR management, the HR department must manage these professionals in a professional manner. Okay. So then how to hire these guys because it's a technical jobs. If you hire wrong person, it's going to be a real issue because these usually you pay high salaries. So when you pay high salaries, if you recruit wrong person, that is you are wasting a lot of time, a lot of money. So that is another challenge. So likewise, so this is an open question. This is not a textbook question. Okay, this is not a textbook question. Okay, and sometimes they are under different managers. Like your people are changing from one project to the other project. And sometimes they need to travel, right? Maybe partly they are in Sri Lanka, then they are in USA. So those are also challenges because they don't stay in one place. So likewise, you must give practical answers. Okay, let's see what are the answers given in the marking scheme. Okay, of course, any other traditional challenges are also there, right? How to motivate them, how to retain them, how to give them proper training, how to give them the proper work life balance. So those are also there, but I just concentrated on special cases for IT. Okay, right. So finding and recruiting the right talent. So that is the biggest because they are in talent hunt. That is why IT department, HR department usually go to the universities, reputed universities, and they they want to hire them from the university itself. Otherwise, they lose that talent. So that is finding and recruiting the right talent, right? Well-being of the employees, right? Work-life balance and so on. So that is HR department's task, right? Promoting inclusions and diversity in the workplace. So that is something I did not mention, right? Gender equality, right? Equal opportunities, right? Not to discriminate based on religions, race. So that is also something HR departments are really interested, right? Of course, the regulation and compliance, that is a general point, okay? Like EPF, ETF. So those things must be taken care of by the HR, right? If there are skill gaps, arranging trainings, because arranging trainings is something that HR department does. Okay. And also, as I told you, high staff turnover. High staff turnover means these IT professionals tend to change their job because they have so much of opportunities, right? With those experienced, talented IT professionals have plenty of opportunities. So therefore, how to retain them is the biggest challenge. How to retain the best people, how to recruit the best people, how to provide them the skill gap and work-life balance. Okay. So those are the challenges for the HR department. Okay. So if you're already employed in the IT field, you know these things. But I know that there are plenty of students still you are not in the IT field. So those guys, so you must know this is the reality. IT field is wonderful field, highly competitive, highly challenging, so therefore highly stressful, and of course it's young people, right? Of people, that means most of the 90% of the workforce is in their early 20s. That is why the HR department has these special challenges also. Right, you can see it's short and sweet answer, right? But you better describe little bit better, bigger, more, because this is a model answer. So don't think that just maybe you can just write the point and explain it, right? Write the point, explain it. Write the point, explain. It's very easy for the examiner to give marks, right? So if examiner is not interested about the details, he will go to the next point and give you the marks. But when you write very lengthy sentence, so then the examiner is in trouble, right? Reading your lengthy answers and see how many points are there. So therefore, the best format is write your point, maybe briefly explain. Write your point, briefly explain. Okay. But these are model answers. This is not the typical answer. This is just the points mentioned. Okay. So you must explain a little bit but more. Right, next question. B part. Briefly explain the following different organization structures with examples. Function-based structure, that is the typical structure like HR department, finance department, marketing department, production departments, and so on. Geography-based structure, so that is Asia Pacific, if it is multinational company, right? European operations, okay, Nordic for the maybe North American, South American. Then of course country-wise it can be Indian operations, Sri Lankan, Bangladesh, okay. Geography based. Of course, if it is a local organization, maybe they have subdivided into north and west. So north and east, north central, south, western, and so on. Product based structure means your organization is based on product, maybe hardware side, software development, or maybe if it is maybe if they are doing vehicle related things, car related, motorcycle related. So you subdivide the organization into sections like that. Then the HR, finance, and those things support them across the board. Okay, so you need to explain, right? So function-based structure, you explain that we can subdivide the organization into major business functionalities like HR, finance, production, uh, marketing, and so on. And each section is having their section head and operate their activities, and there must be good coordination between those functional units. So that is something like that is expected for function based structure. Let's see the answer for that one. Function-based structure, a structure based on functions carried out by the organization, like operations, administration, sales and marketing, research and development. So some examples, okay? Right. So then geography-based structure. So the organization is subdivided into geographical areas, operations of based on geographical areas. Maybe if it is a multinational company, it can be regions in the world, or maybe next level country-wise, and so on. Right. So big companies like Unilever, Nestle, Coca-Cola, right? Even something like Pizza Hut. So they have geography-based structure, right? Asian operations, then South Asian, Far East, then South Asian, Indian, Sri Lanka, and so on, right? Geography-based structure, right? Geography-based structure, grouping activities together on a geographic base. Multinational companies that operate in number of different countries usually have geography elements in their structure. Especially this is used by multinational companies. So if you use those words, you will get the full marks. So that means the examiner knows that you guys have a feeling of these things. Okay. Right. So the next one, product-based structure. So product-based structure means when your business is little bit diversified, not focusing on one area, you can initially structure your organization based on product. Right? For example, if you take something like, if you even you can take an example and explain, even local example or global example. Right? For example, if you take something like a local example, uh, if you take something like Unilever, so they have subdivision of soap and that kind of things, and then food items like extra margarine and so on. Okay, so if you take DSI, manufacturing of the footwear, then manufacturing of the bags and other items. So then they have some other areas also, right? The plastics and so on. So that is product-based structure. So you need to explain it, okay? So get the full marks. And product line structure based around different types of products, right? First, your first sentence is very important. Your first sentence, maybe you get the full marks, okay? Because that should be the very short, brief, right? Up to the point you explain what is product-based structure. Then you give a little bit of examples and explain it, right? What are the possible products? You can take example like that, okay? Right? Organizing themselves into operational divisions according to the products and services they produce. Any example based on different product or solution. So you can see examine, expect that you give an example and explain it. Right? Possible some example, right? International company or local company. Okay. Even even when you go for bank, you can see there's a loan division, right? Corporate customer division, right? So that is also productive. So product means service also, right? Okay, we just say product based, but product and service based. Okay. Right. So that is this B part. C part. So this is to give you the idea about the expectation structure of the paper, because one of the biggest mistake is students study and then look at the past papers. That doesn't work. First look at the past papers, then study. Then you know what to study, what you can, what areas you must be very serious, which areas you need to memorize, which areas you're usually there's no expectation of memorizing. Otherwise, you waste your time. You memorize everything and then look at the past papers and find that okay, you have spent waste your time. Okay, you should have done much more productive thing. Right. Explain the steps involved in setting up an organizational structure. So remember, we can set up the organizational structure in different way. So different possibilities are there: functional based, geographical, product based, and matrix. Something like software development, civil engineering, right? Matrix structure where your projects going like that and your functional units are like that, right? So the question is, how do you set up your organizational structure? So we don't know which organizational structure. It depends on your organization. So in detail, how do you set up this? Okay, so this is also somewhat open question. So as long as your answers are reasonable, you will get the full marks or reasonable marks. Okay. So getting A plus for this kind of a subject is very difficult because open questions. So if you get A or A plus, that means your answers are really taking the eyes of the examiner. Okay. Right. So what kind of things? So first of all, you must understand your business, right? What kind of business you are doing, your organization's activities, because then only you can decide which type of organization structure is best, right? You understand the operational structure or your business model, business operations, and so on. So then you decide what is your what is the organizational structure you want to use. Is it functional, product, geographical, or matrix, or whatever? So once you decide that, you can decide the functional units. What are the functional units? How many functional units, right? How are you going to do the horizontal coordination, vertical command of lines? So you need to decide those things, right? So this is an open question, right? So my answer can be different from the examiner's answer. For these kind of questions, as long as your answers are reasonable, you will get the marks because these are open questions. Because this is final year, right? Final year. This is not a theory subject. This is professional practice. How do you work or think, act like a professional? Right? Be very serious. Okay. Right. So what else? So then maybe you create that structure, right? Appoint the heads and maybe review the operational structure time to time, whether it reflects your current needs, right? And maybe time to time improve it, maybe identify new organizational need for a new organizational structure or addition of new organizational unit and so on, right? So likewise, okay, let's see, right? Plan the future, right? So this is the examiner's answer. Think about the past. So it's a very general answer, right? Plan the future, think about the past. Of course, your answer, if you don't have these points, still you will get the marks as long as your answer is solid. It's a solid case. Okay. Build organizational structure, fill in the people, right? Fill in the people like heads, how many people you need, right? Balance authority and responsibility. That is, you define these people have these responsibilities. Therefore, these people get these authorities. So any the critical words that you learn under organizational structure, you can use in your answer. Like for example, authority and responsibility is something you learn there, right? Functional unity is something you learn there. Okay. Fill in the employees data and matrices, that is giving them the responsibilities and so on, okay, assigning them the responsibilities and so on. Practice robust performance management of the employee, so that is another thing they have added. Actually that is not a direct thing, but maybe yes, right? Because you want to maintain high productivity within your organization. Review your organizational structure annually. I told you. So you can't just keep the same organizational structure forever. Businesses are dynamic. Businesses keep changing, right? So you need to adapt to the environment. So therefore, you need to review whether you need to do some changes to the organizational structure. So that is a very important point, right? Anyway, I mentioned that. Okay. So likewise, if it is reasonable, you will get the full marks. Okay. Right. Next question. You can see that most of these answers you can't memorize and give. Right? That is actually this paper is really good one. So if you have that professional mindset, right? If you have that seriousness, you can even answer these things without reading any note. Right? These questions, of course, you must know what are the organizational structures and so on. But you can't just rely on memorizing things. It's all about how serious you are, how professional you are. Can you think of the big picture? Can you see the practically how business organization works, software development or IT organization work, right? Different departments, their work. So, of course, if you are already working in the IT field or any other company, so definitely it's a plus point, right? Because you see these things happening, okay? But others, you need to visualize it if you are still not employed. Right. Next question. Companies have clearly defined appraisal schemes. I explained you appraisal schemes are super important because these are private companies, IT departments. It is not the government. Now you know that today I think the president has told that the salary of the government employees will be increased in the budget, right? So whether that guy perform or not, everyone get the salary increment. What kind of a joke is that? Right? වැඩට යන්නේ නැති එකටත් හම්බ වෙනවා බුදියගෙන ඉන්න එකටත් හම්බ වෙනවා මිනිස්සු රස්තියාදු කරන එකටත් පඩි වැඩි වෙනවා. That is not the way private sector work. Private sector, there's an appraisal scheme every year. At the end, those who fulfill the requirement, those who perform get the salary increments, others they don't get the salary increments. Okay. So you must have that mindset, right? Because IT professionals, 90% of the IT professionals or 95% of the IT professionals work in private sector. Right? Very rarely they go to the government sector. Right? So in private sector, this is how it is done. Appraisal schemes are there every organization. Right? Annual appraisal scheme. Right? Right? Let's read the question. Companies have clearly defined appraisal schemas and all the employees are generally going through the appraisal processing. Even the CEO. CEO is assessed by the board of directors. Then each functional managers are assessed by CEO and board of directors. Then next level people. Right? Or each and every project member is assessed by the project manager or an architect. So that is how it is done. Okay. Right. Companies have clearly defined appraisal schemas, and all the employees are generally going through appraisal process for their rewards and career progress. Explain the importance of appraisal process for an IT organization using 4 key advantages. So you need to explain it, and your answer must include 4 key advantages of having appraisal scheme. Right? Having appraisal scheme. Okay. So it says briefly. Explain. So that means examine, expect little bit of details now. And again, the best format is give your point, explain it. Give your point, explain it. Okay. So once your point is there, maybe examiner has given you full marks, so half of the marks. Then the other half may be from here. Or sometimes the entire 1 mark is already given. Sometimes the examiner don't read it, but don't care. But if you write everything as a one sentence, sometimes examiner gets frustrated. Okay. So point, explain it. Point, explain it. Right. What are your points? So if you are not very sure, you are reluctant to write the point because you are not very sure. So the confident students, they write the point, explain it. Non-confidence, or those who are lacking confidence, they go හැලිලියන. හැලිලියන්නේ කෙලින් කියන්න බය. හරි. ඒතකොට දන්න අය බය නැතුව කෙලින් ලියන්න. නොදන්න අය හැලිලියන්න. හැංගෙන්න. Right? Uttarasya hanging. Right. What are the advantages? So when you have appraisal schema, you can the high performance employees get better advantage. So then you can retain them. So that is the whole idea of appraisal schema. Right. So your high performing employees are getting higher benefits so that you can keep them. And low performance employees get less benefits, and possibly you can frustrate them and get rid of them. That is the whole idea of appraisal schema. So better people get more benefits, lesser people get less benefits. Okay, that is the whole idea of appraisal schema. Not everyone is getting the same benefit. Okay. So that gives really good motivation for your good employees. That is what we want. So you can retain them because they can see that we get more benefits. It's fair. Fairness is this. Fairness is not everyone is getting the same salary increment. Fairness is those who work smarter, talented, they get higher salary, higher benefits. Those who work less or they don't work much, they are underperforming, they should get no advantage or less benefits. And also during the appraisal schema, you can identify your employees' strengths, weaknesses, right? Maybe give them the opportunity to reflect their performance and show them what are the improvements need. That is another advantage of having the appraisal scheme. Okay. And also it gives a lot of motivation for your good employees because they get higher benefits. Okay. Higher benefits. And also you can keep your high standards, high productivity, high quality during because of these appraisal schemes. Okay. And also you can attract good people to your organization. So when they say we have a very good appraisal scheme, good people like to come to your organization. Bad people, they will say, no, I'm not going to go there because they are evaluating people based on their performance. So then it create a culture where good people comes to you, bad people, they don't come to you because they know that they are not, they can't survive. So that is how good organizations are built, right? So that is how good organizations are built because they attract talented people because they have the performance based on benefits based on performance. So then the bad people will not come to your organization because they know that they can't survive. Simple as that. Okay, so let's see the marking scheme answer. They measure employees' performance against previously agreed goals. Right? So we have goals and see whether goals are achieved. If the goals are achieved, you get more benefits. Otherwise, you don't get much benefits or you don't get any benefits. Right? Set future objectives. So once we measure the benefits and give you the benefits, measure the performance and give the benefits, we can use that opportunity to set objectives for the next cycle, next year. Give staff guidance on their development and training needs. So as I told you, we can give them some insight into what to improve because everyone may have certain things to improve. Motivation for performing employees is very important, right? Motivation for performing employees. වැඩ කරන employees වලට motivation එකක් තියෙනවා. වැඩ කරන්නේ නැති employees වලට ගෙදර යන්න දෙනවා. මේ වැඩේ හරියන්නේ නැහැ මෙතන ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ කියලා. Right? Give constructive feedback. So this is we can use it for give feedback also. So are we happy about your performance? Are we not happy? Are you average? Right? These are the things you need to improve. So we can give feedback. So likewise, it's open question. Open question. But if you're already working in that kind of organization, definitely you know the answer. You can write it. Right? So those who work in that kind of organizations, performance-based organization, because you are also going through this cycle. So you know exactly what to write. But if you're not still employed, then of course this is the reality in private sector. Good organization. Right? So Java organizations, they make good organization. Okay. Right. B part. Generally, IT companies have very comprehensive recruitment and selection process. Yes. So they have very comprehensive recruitment and selection. Very tough. First interview, second interview, third interview. Sometimes all of before all of these maybe a IQ test or practical test. Yes, very comprehensive recruitment and selection process. Most of the companies have built-in psychometric assessments. Yes. So before the interviews, usually they give you a psychometric assessment, maybe IQ test or work assessment, okay, or personality test, okay. Test your personality, whether you are a positive person, constructive person, okay. In their selection process, explain the different type of psychometric assessment that are carried out in the selection process. So again, if you have applied for IT jobs and if you are already working there, you know some of these, maybe you have already faced that kind of test. Because in the final year, the expectation is mostly you are working now. Because if you are in the final year and still if you are not working, there is something wrong, right? Or at least you must be now a trainee. So that is why they ask this kind of question because for that kind of a student who is already working and who has already going through this selection process, this is we can answer choice question එක. හැබැයි එහෙම හිතවත් නැති කෙනෙක්ට මේක මහා ලොකු දෙයක්. නැත්නම් ජොබ් එකක් ගැන හිතවත් නැති කට්ටිය. Right. What are the different types of psychometric test? Number one is IQ test, especially for IT field. And technical jobs, number one is IQ test. මොකද ඔය ඔක්කොටම වඩා ඔයා Java දන්නවද C දන්නවද project management දන්නවද කියන එක නේ වැඩ ගන්න මොකද්ද ඔයාගේ IQ එක. ඕකෙන් තමයි ගේම ගහන්නේ. ඕකෙන් තමයි ගේම ගහන්නේ. ප්‍රශ්න විසඳන්න. Right? IQ test. So then maybe practical test on the key technologies, key areas, like maybe there's a test on uh, database. If they are planning to hire you for a database design, maybe there's practical test on programming. They will ask you to develop small web development, web application, maybe within 2 or 3 hours. Right? Just maybe one or two screens. Right? They will say build as much as possible within 2 hours. That is the best way to see whether some. Right? For example, today I got of course I frequently get this kind of messages. Today I got a message asking whether there are vacancies for lecturers. So I asked, record 5 minutes of lecturing and send it to me. Or if you're already doing online lecturing, just maybe 5 minutes clip. Because if you are recruiting a lecturer, so we don't care your degree. We don't care your whatever, right? If you are recruiting for lecturing, you must be able to lecturing. That is our primary concern. Your degree and other thing is secondary. So if you are looking for a software engineer, you must be able to do software development. That is what we test. We don't test anything else. Okay. So if you can develop software, we don't care whether you have a degree or not or whatever, whether you get a first class or second class. But who cares your first class, second class if you can't develop a software? And if our task is developing software, our company is developing software. So that is why we need, okay, these practical tests, IQ test, right? Situational assessment test, like group task is given and we evaluate your attitude, your leadership. Okay. So those are the different type of tests. Okay. Sometimes even personality test, problem solving test, and so on. Right. So you need to list down and maybe explain. I think you just need to explain. You need to explain also. Maybe why, how. Okay. Right. Ability test. So that is what I told you. Can you do a software development? We are looking for software development. Can you do a database design? Because we are looking for a database design. Ability test. Measure an individual's ability in general areas, right? Verbal or numeral skills and blah blah. Aptitude test. Measure person's potential to learn and the skills needed for the job. That is also part of the IQ test. Personality test. Right? Assess the characteristics of the person. Make a correct the කම්මැලි හරි විනාශකාරී බුද්ධලේද එහෙම නැත්නම් යමක් නිපදවන්න කැමති කෙනෙක්ද පොසිටිව් කෙනෙක්ද නෙගටිව් කෙනෙක්ද කියලා අපිට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් personality testing. Personality testing මේ විනාඩි 5ක් කතා කරනකොට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් ඇත්තටම හරි මනුස්සයා කවුද කියලා විනාඩි 5ක් කතා කරනකොට ඒකට තමයි විනාඩි 10ක් 15ක් මේක තියන්නේ හරි ඒක සමහරට මදි ඒක මදි වුණාම තමයි අපි වෙනම ටෙස්ට් එකක් දෙන්නේ personality test එකක් සමහරට personality test එකකින් component එකයි IQ test එකකින් component එක ඔක්කොම කලවම් කරලා එක ටෙස්ට් එකක් දෙන්නේ ඔය ටෙස්ට් දීන වෙලාවක් නැහැ නේ right so C part. Work-life balance is discussed during job interviews. Not only job interviews, throughout your career, work-life balance is super important. Work-life balance means some people, they work too much. They don't have private life. So they work Saturdays, Sundays, overtime. So sometimes they are boarded in Colombo, whatever. They don't go home for very long time. That means it's imbalance. It's imbalance. Okay. So it's something like this now. Your work is here, life is here. And some others, their life is here, but they are not committed to the work. Okay. So work-life balance means you need to balance out this. Otherwise, it's not good for the individual because you will be stressed, you will have some personal issues, family issues. And it is not good for the organization because when people are under stress, when they have issues, they are not productive because they can't concentrate. So therefore, work-life balance is something that individuals as well as organizations are interested. Okay. Right. Work-life balance is discussed during job interviews and during work involvements. Discuss three important advantages to both employees and company. You can see both employees and company. It is not just the employees must interested about work-life balance. Even the employees must are interested in your work-life balance, because if your work-life balance is not there, your productivity is not there. Especially jobs like software development, where you must be think very sharply. You tend to make a lot of mistakes. නිතර වරද්දන මොකද work life stress ගෙවල් වල ප්‍රශ්න වෙන ප්‍රශ්න tired stress එහෙම වැඩ කරන්න බෑ රිලැක්ස් එකේ වැඩ කරන්න ආතල් එකේ ජොලිය වැඩ කරන්න ඒ කරන වැඩ ටික හරියට කරන්න නැතුව මේ පැය 10ක් 12ක් වැඩ කරලා එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන් ජොබ් නෙමෙයි මේවා hard labor නෙමෙයි okay. Important advantage to both employees and company of having proper work-life balance. So what are the advantages? So you can subdivide into two. Advantages for the employee, advantages for the company. So what are the advantages for the employee? So employee's personal life is happy and successful. So that is something that every employee is interested, right? At least they should. Right? So when you maintain proper work-life balance, the employee's personal life is a successful one and happy one. What else? So when you have good work-life balance, you can gradually build your profession because you have time for your studies, higher education, improve your skills because you are not always working. So that is also important. And also, when you have a good work-life balance, you are not stressed. So that is good for your health. Otherwise, your mental health, physical health can deteriorate. Likewise, you need to write down. Okay. And if you're already working in IT field or whatever the field, now you should feel it. You should feel it now what is work-life balance is. And what about the company side? So when the work-life balance is maintained for the majority of the employees, so in general, the productivity is high. Lesser number of conflicts. Otherwise, there can be conflict between managers and other team members. Right? Higher productivity, lesser issues, lesser conflicts. Right? And also, it's good for the reputation of the organization because otherwise there will be the community will talk that this organization is a bad organization. Those employees, they don't have the work-life balance. So then good people will not come to your organization because there's a black mark saying that this is not a good place to work. So likewise, having proper work-life balance is very important for the organizations also. Okay. එයාට පේනවා මේ question ගොඩක් ඒවා note එකවල තියෙනව නෙමෙයි. ඔයාලට එවෙල හිතලා ලියන්න තියෙන්නේ. Okay. Right. So pretty much those things, right? Long-term retentions, employee satisfaction and engagement. Right. So this is work-life interference, bi-directional. Work can interfere with private life. Private life can interfere with work. Right. So that is what work-life balance is. Okay. Now you can think of possible questions they can ask. Right? Maybe next time they will ask. So what are the help as a manager you can give or advisors you can give to your employee under you to improve that guy's work-life balance? Maybe scenario. Okay, something like that, because don't expect that every year they ask the same question. Okay, right. D part. Training and development is a key function that impacts the performance of employees and organizations. Yes, training and development. Okay. So HR department usually conduct this, arrange the trainings for the employees. When someone is recruited, there will be trainings and there will be regular trainings. Okay. Actually, one of the organization I worked, there was a policy, right? If you do not attend minimum, there was a specified number of hours. If you haven't attended minimum number of hours of that training for each year, you don't get the promotions. So that means organization force you to attend the training, because sometimes when you are so busy with your work and when you become senior, you feel like I don't need training, right? So attending training is killing my time. So that is why they have, but that is wrong. So everyone has something to improve, something to learn. So that is why they had that policy. You must attend minimum number of trainings conducted by the organization. You can't skip training saying that I have work. Okay, so therefore it's super critical, because that is where you can improve, learn new things. Training and development is a key function that impacts the performance of employees and organization. It's again good for the employees and for the organization, because when we have more and more talented people, the organization is also, there's something called organizational learning. IT companies spend considerable amount of time and budget on training and development. Explain 4 key points explaining the importance of having consistent training and development plans for IT organizations in today's context. So why it is important to have consistent training programs, training and development plans, IT organization. So you need to explain and look at the marks also. If there's a higher marks, that means you need, the expectation is a little bit bigger, right? So here you can see 3 marks, and this one 8 marks. 8 marks means they expect little bit more details, little bit more seriousness in your answer. Okay, right. So what are the key points of importance? What that means importance. Why it is important? So you can again write down your point and explain, right? So when we have trainings, so that will keep improving the performance of the employees, because every training will improve their skills, right? Knowledge. That is good. That will affect their overall productivity of the team members. What else? So when they get opportunities to attend trainings, so your employees are happy, right? Because this organization is not taking always getting their job done. So they give us the opportunity to grow. So that is good feeling for the employees. So employees will like the organization, because they know that while we work, our career is also growing. We learn new things. So that is good for the motivation of the employees. Okay. What else? Because they say 4 key points. So give your best points. Give your best points. And also, for example, especially IT field, we know that technologies and everything is keep changing all the time. So when you conduct these trainings only, we can keep up with these new technologies, new trends, new business models, and so on. So therefore, if you want to go with the trends and be a leader, we must conduct trainings regularly and make our employees up to the expectation. Okay. So what else? What else? And these training sessions help knowledge sharing. So if you have an expert in one area, that is a good opportunity for that guy to share his skills, knowledge, maybe skills and knowledge he has gathered from previous projects in other organizations. Now he can share it with your employees. Okay. So that is good for that person also, not only for those attending their trainings. So that person also feel like, okay, I did a wonderful job. I shared my knowledge. So he is also happy. So likewise, you need to explain practically why do we need to have these training sessions in IT organization. Okay, so let's see what are the points mentioned by Markiski. Organization's productivity increases. Employees' motivation increases. Now, this is just a point, okay? You are supposed to explain this. Employees that believe they are expanding their abilities tend to be more satisfied in their jobs, increase staff retention because they tend to love the organization. So then they don't leave because they know that the organization take care of you. Right? So when the organization take care of the employees, employees tend to remain there. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Now we move on to the question number 3. Describe 4 different type of intellectual property. So that is textbook question. It's direct from your note as well. So what are the 4 type of intellectual properties? Copyrights, right? Copyrights, patents, what is trade secrets, and then maybe you can take trademarks, trade names, and so on. Copyrights, patents, trademarks and trade names, trade secrets. Right? So then you need to describe what is copyrights. So the right to copy of intellectual property is reserved with the original creator. So that is copyrights. Others can't violate copyrights of the original creator. Then patents are for to preserve the rights of the innovators, those who are doing innovative things, inventors. So they get the exclusive rights to use their innovation or invention for a specific period of time. So then trade names and trademarks are the registered trade names and trademarks of organizations, businesses cannot be used by others because their trade names and trademarks have uh, embedded with their reputation, the long-term commitments, and so on. So others can't use registered trade names and trademarks that violate the intellectual property. And trade secrets, basically, every organization has things that they don't want to expose to their competitors and so on. So those are called trade secrets. Maybe how to preserve, there's nothing to do. Just keep it secret. Maybe you can ask employees to sign non-disclose agreements. Maybe how do you preserve your copyrights? How do you preserve your patent? You need to get the patents, apply it and get the patents from the patent office. Trademarks and trade names, you need to register your trade names and trademarks and renew it. Likewise, you need to expect. But don't වල්පල්ලි යන්න යන්න එපා. හරි හැලි. හොඳ points, valid points ටිකක් ලියන්න. Okay, because it says describe. So describe following with good levels, so can see good levels of details. On the details level එකට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Copyrights, patents, confidential information and trademarks. මේවා එක්තරා හොඳ ප්‍රමාණයකට explain කරලා දුන්නොත් ලකුණු 8ක් දෙනවා. Sorry. B. Write down 4 exclusive rights owned by software copyright owner. Right? What are the exclusive rights software copyright owners have? Of course, whether it's software or anything, it's the same right. So copyright owner has the rights to copy and duplicate. Copyright owner has the rights to adapt and create new things from the original thing. Copyright owner has the rights to, of course, for software, you can't do something like display, public display, because for software, we don't do like that. So therefore, make sure you take points related to software. Right. So, so you know that software copyright owners can give license for others to use it. Okay. That is my third point. Okay. What else? So maybe software copyright owners can transfer their ownership to someone else. That is also right. I can transfer it to someone else, maybe for commercial purpose. So likewise, you need to explain. Write your answer and explain it. Right. What are the points here? Try to make copies, try to adapt that the work and change it. Issue copies of the work to the public, that is licensing. Rent or lend the work to the public. Of course, software can be lent. The right to perform, play, or show the work in public. But I don't know whether that is good point for the software. Okay. That is not directly. I think examiner has just copy paste typical points. But I think that is not a very good point. Right to broadcast the work. I don't know. That is also. I think the best answers are the first four. Okay. Because other two are more related to artistic and that kind of things. Okay. See part one. What is defined as confidential information? So confidential information means the information that the organization or they don't want to disclose it. So anything that the organization or individual doesn't want to disclose is a confidential information. Maybe that is a trade secret or maybe privacy things of their employees or customers. Right. So it's not, you don't need to explain it because you just define it. Anything that the organization do not want to disclose is confidential information. Information cannot be stolen or shared without permission. It is possible to take action on a civil courts. I don't know why they are explaining like this because they say define as confidential information. Anyway, this is little bit here and there answer. Okay. මෙතන explain කරන්න වෙන කතන්දරයක් හරිද? මෙතන කියන from using or revealing. ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්න reveal කරන්න අකමැති දේවල්. How can non-disclosure agreement safeguard confidential information? So that is additional safeguard. Because organizations, trade secrets, or confidential informations can be seen by, or the employees can get the access to them. So then we can sign non-disclosure agreement with the employees or anyone, any third party that can get access to the confidential information, not to disclose it. So they agree that not to disclose it. So that is additional thing. In case of a disclosure or leaking of public confidential information, you can use the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, as a witness or proof to file your case. Additional proof for the case. Then you can ask for compensation and so on. So it's a agreement that's signed between employee and the employer, saying that employee is saying that I will not disclose these privacy or confidential information. NDA is a legal binding between two parties. And when you sign NDA, you are bound to keep your confidential information to yourself. Right? So you don't need to use the exact word, something like that. Okay. A non-disclosure agreement is an agreement that is specifically intended to set up an obligations of confidence. For example, when two companies are discussing possible collaboration, each side will sign such a non-disclosure agreement to protect the information they exchange. So that is not between the employer and employee, maybe possibly between two companies. So there can be non-disclosure agreement between companies and other parties as well. Right, next part. Describe two different types of copyright infringement. So we discussed this in the class. Primary infringement, secondary infringement. Primary infringement means someone or some party directly violate the copyrights. So he just access the information and maybe duplicate it and reproduce and distribute directly. That is called primary infringement. The second type is when you do it in a commercial setup, like you involved in selling piracy software, you involved in selling or distributing copyright violated books or something. So when it happens in commercial setup, that is secondary infringement. Right? Primary infringement take place whenever any of the exclusive rights of the copyright owner is breached. Secondary infringement occurs when primary infringement occurs in a business or commercial context. So when it is happening in a business or commercial context, we call it secondary infringement. Pretty much the same thing, the two different contexts. Right, next question. Question 4, last one. You are given a set of scenarios and list of terms related to each scenario. These scenarios and terms are related to computer security and computer crime. Right? So anyway, this is the answer sheet. So therefore, you have the answers as well. But anyway, this is not a difficult question, right? So anyway, the answers are also there. So when you read this, you should be able to understand, identify what is the term that you are supposed to use, right? And we discussed all this, right? Defamation, apahasa karana connected. Child pornography. Remember, in most of the countries, pornography is not illegal. Child pornography is almost every country. Child pornography is illegal. Right? You know what is spamming, right? Maybe this one is, I think, not directly mentioned in your notes. Maybe mentioned in your reference book. Okay. So BYOD means bring your own devices. So a lot of software companies use this philosophy. A lot of software companies, especially if you work from home. So you use your own computers, your own laptop. Sometimes company will give it. Sometimes company will provide you a device, or sometimes they will say, okay, you use your own one because we don't want to rest. Because sometimes you are more comfortable with that using your own laptop rather than using company laptop. So that philosophy is called, sorry, not philosophy, that concept is called BYOD. Company takes policy decision to allow its employees to use their own devices. I think that is not directly mentioned in your note. Okay, but all the other things we have discussed. Vulnerability, ransomware, DOS attack. Remember, this was mentioned in your note, advanced persistent threats, mostly done by the governments, right? Like China, Russia, they are notorious for doing these APTs. You know what is phishing is, right? Maybe give a phishing kira when not. Right. So that is a very easy question. Discuss the difference between anonymous and pseudonymous postings. That is a very practical question, and this is directly mentioned in your note. Right. So anonymous means you post something, especially social media and something, without disclosing your name. Right? In group post and so on, you can just post without exposing your identity. Then the others will see it like anonymous post. Pseudonymous means you post using not your real name, fake name or fake account. Then it is pseudonymous. So we can't say that is bad. So there are situations that is also good. But right, this is also not always bad. So these are all good things because it preserves your privacy. It preserve your privacy. So don't think that anonymous things are raw, bad and pseudonymous things are bad. But if someone misuse it, yes, that is bad. If someone misuse these features to uh, insult others, spread false information, spread hatred, right, terrorism, so that is where it's bad. Otherwise, these are all valid things. Right. So anonymous means you don't disclose your identity, and others see that it's anonymous. Pseudonymous means you disclose things with fake identity. sometimes this is sort of a bad thing because sometimes you try to fool others. But sometimes by looking at the your pseudonymous, everyone knows that this is fake. But sometimes you pretend like someone else. So that is bad. That is unethical. Right. So likewise, you need to explain the difference. Here you don't expose your name, but you don't represent using a fake account. But here you represent yourself using a fake name, fake identity. Okay. When you post something anonymously, here with pseudonymous posting, you use a made up name. Made up name can be fake name, not your real one. Right? It's like a nickname. So both can be used in good manner or misuse. Right. C. Discuss two responsibilities of the internet service providers, ISPs like Mobitel, Dialog, SLT, Hutch, allowing anonymous and pseudonymous postings. Actually, this is not the ISP's task. Usually, the platform, for example, it is not the ISP. For example, you can go to the Facebook and post anonymously. So that is nothing to do with the ISPs actually. Okay, I don't know why they ask about the ISPs. Okay. Uh, so, by the way, two responsibilities. If you are doing it with the help of the ISP rather than in a platform, right, rather than a platform, that means your identity is not disclosed. So then, what are the responsibilities of the ISP? ISP has to balance out this. Right. One thing is you need to preserve the privacy of the users, your clients. So that is why anonymous and pseudonymous postings is allowed because people sometimes they don't want to expose their real identity. At the same time, they want to balance out that these people are not misusing those features and take other people into trouble, like blackmailing and so on. So ISP provider need to balance out this, preserve the respect the privacy of your users as well as uh, preserve the others' rights. That means don't allow misuse in those features. Then collaborate with the law enforcement authority if there's such misuse. Okay, so you need to write something like practical answers. Right, adhering to local laws, protect the identity of the users, privacy of the users, protect the freedom of expression and safety of the publisher, protect the security of the data. So those are general points. Okay, so they basically examine expect good general points. That's it. I think this is one of the best professional practice paper, right? Because I have been teaching this for about 10 years. This is one of the best past paper I have seen to last year paper. I'm pretty sure this paper is set up by someone who is really connected to industry. Maybe a professor or doctor, but someone with a lot of contacts, connections, experience with IT industry because this is very practical sort of paper. Because some years the paper is very theory. Sometimes it's really frustrating to answer those questions, just academic questions, because this is professional practice. This is one of the best paper, right? Very practical paper, right? So that is so now you must have an idea about the paper, right? Because we did the 2023 paper, okay? Right. So now we need to finish one more topic, ethics in IT developers perspective. Okay, so let's see whether we have the note, UCSC note. If so, we can finish that also. The syllabus is also over. So now you must prepare for your exams. Okay, and also about your projects. I think some of you guys have sent me your proposals. I never got a chance to look at those things. If you have posted to the group, So don't post it to the group about your project related things, your individual project related things. So just send it to me as a private message, okay? Because your project is your individual project. It is not a group project. Okay. Of course, you can discuss about common things as a group, right? About the project deadlines, time frames, or any other general things about the technology and so on. But don't disclose your individual project to others. Okay. So just send me an individual message. I think for individual messages, I responded. Actually, I never got a time to respond to the group messages. Okay. But better to send me private messages if you have anything to do with the project. Okay. Other thing is I will not be able to be supervisor of each and every one of you. Right. So already I think 2, 3, 4, 5 students have asked me the supervision. Uh, so I will try to be the supervisor for most of you guys, but may not be for each and everyone because I also have capacity. Okay. Uh, right. Right. So now let's move on to our final topic, ethics for IT developers perspective. That note is not there. Let's see whether that they have uploaded it right now. Maybe now they have uploaded it. Otherwise, you need to refer to the relevant chapters, okay, of the reference book. Oh, VL is down. Okay, University VL is down. Right, I think still they have not uploaded. If anyone has that document, maybe you have, because I did not try that document recently. But other topics we have covered. Okay, the topics we have covered. Uh, yeah, the topics we have covered. Uh, so therefore, shall we move on to 2022? Because I think no point me doing a revision because you have the recordings, right? I did it very fast, deliberately, because then you don't need to waste your time. So I don't think that we need to do another revision. Rather, we'll keep concentrating on the past papers. Okay. Uh, right. So shall we move on to the 2022 paper? We will not be able to finish it, but we should be able to do at least some of the questions, maybe one or two. And so shall we move to 2022 paper? 23 is done, fully done. Okay. Right. 2022 paper. By the way, we'll do a quick recap. So remember your topic one is introduction to professional practice. We discuss, okay, so that note is also still not. Just check whether that note is now there. Otherwise, get the past reference book. I think I have uploaded the reference book. Read the relevant topics. Okay, read the relevant pages in your reference book because yeah. So your reference one I have uploaded. I don't know if the page numbers are correct. Professional issues in IT. I think I have uploaded it to the WhatsApp Google Classroom. Okay, let me double check because this is the final year. I uploaded the entrepreneurship. Sorry, uh, management reference book is not there. I will actually I got it. Got one of the book, but it is not very clear. Okay, maybe I will upload that. Entrepreneurship reference book. Actually, I got it from one of you, right? One of the students shared me about 1 month ago. Then I uploaded. I hope he or she is okay with that. Okay. Uh, Professional practice, yes. Reference one is there. Just refer to the relevant chapters. So reading the reference book is very, very important for this kind of subjects. And this book is very small. Okay, very small book. You can even read you don't need to read the entire book because some chapters are not relevant to you. So you can just read For example, HR chapter, you can read the intellectual property chapter, right? So you don't need to read all the things, okay? Because this book is only 226 paper. 226 paper. You just need to read about 100 pages because most of the chapters you can just read the law and government, the computing profession chapter you can read. What is an organization chapter you can read. Okay, remember there was a question on organizational structures. Uh, so structure and management. Uh, Financing a startup company you don't need because that is not in your syllabus. Financial accounting not in your syllabus. Management accounting not in your syllabus. Investment appraisal not in your syllabus. But HR, yes. You can see first few pages, maybe page 1 to uh, page 40, then page 80 forward. Yes, anti-discrimination registrations. And anyway, discriminations are also not in your current syllabus, but it was there in the past old syllabus. But anyway, it's good to read this. Intellectual property rights, definitely read it. Software contract and licenses, it was there in all syllabus, but not in the new syllabus, but it's good to read it. Data protection and privacy, definitely read it. Internet issues, definitely read it. Remember the questions like spam, defamation. දැකලා question එකක් තියෙන question එක දිවිලෙන් මෙතන තියෙනම තමයි. ඔයාලට උත්තර දෙලිය ලියලා තියෙනවා. හරි? පොතෙන් අහලා තියෙනවා. Okay. ඔක්කොද computer misuse. හරි? ඉතින් පිටු 180ක් කියව ගන්න බැරි වෙන්න බෑනේ. 180න් උතන ඕනේ නැති වෙනවා 120ක් විතර. හරි? ෆයිනල් ඉයර් ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක්ට එක්සෑම් සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකකට එක්සෑම් එකට යන්නේ නැහැ. ඩිග්‍රියක් කියන්නේ නිකම් විකාරයක් නෙමෙයි. ඩිග්‍රියක් කියන්නේ උපාධියක් කියන්නේ. වැදගත් දෙයක් නේ. වැදගත් දේ වෙන පිටු 100ක් 200ක් කියව ගන්න බෑ නේද සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකකට. ඇති වැඩේ මොකක්ද නේ? Right. So make sure you read. Okay. Right. So the topic one, they have not uploaded the note. They don't care also. ඒගොල්ලෝ එච්චර ඒ වගේ worry වෙන්නේ නැහැ final එකකට note upload කරලා ගන්න. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ university එකේ expectation එක තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ reference book කියවලා ඉගෙන ගන්න කියන්නේ. හරි? Right. Second topic we discuss, but anyway we'll quickly go through. නිකම් පිටු ටික පෙරලගෙන යනවා විතරයි. දැන් මොනවයි question අහන්නේ කියලා. හරි? Understand what an organization as a legal entity like private company, different type of legal entities, legal persons, and so on. What is limited company? Recognizing different organizational structures. Okay. මෙන්න මේක තහලා තියෙනවා මම හිතන්නේ 22 paper එකේ. Right? Different type of organizations. What is sole traders, partnerships, cooperative, limited companies. හරි මේකෙන් අහක් question එකක් තියෙනවා 2022 වල. Constitution of an organization, directors of the company, structure of a company, functional units, depth of a structure, centralization. මේවා අපි කරා හරි. Organic model, this is the new model where we try to reduce the structures and make it more and more flexible, agile. The old bureaucratic model, matrix management, especially for software development and project-oriented organizations. Right. So then structuring principles, okay. Management issues in IT. Okay. Right. Theoretical තියවා කියව ගන්න ඕනේ. හරි මම ආයි කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. Different type of organizations. What is mean by legal person? For example, private company is a legal person. Okay. Limited liability means it is if there's an issue, they need to go to the courts against the company, not against the individuals. Okay. What is private limited? What is public limited? Like PLC. PLC then constitution of an organization, especially for private and public limited companies, need those. And what is depth of a structure, number of layers in the structure. Depth of a structure depends on number of people reporting directly to the manager. And what is mean by manager? Span of control. So this is new approach, organic models. Flexible workplace with horizontal mode of communication rather than verticalization. Okay. Right. So the bureaucratic model, it's an old approach. They are abhiyan niladhariwadi කියන්නේ. So you have managers, tight control, and so on. Okay. Matrix of management, that is especially for project like software development, civil engineering, then structuring. This is with function based structuring and මොකක්ද? Uh, these are possible divisions, geographic based structures. When to use that, product line based structures, structured by market sector, structured by technology. ඊළඟ පාර අහන්න තියෙනවා හරි. So setting up structure in a practice. දැක්කද මේ මෙන්න මෙතනින් තමයි question එක අහලා තියෙන්නේ. Organizations of any size will have structure of that includes elements of several of the different type of structure discussed earlier in the slides. Reference page number 43 to 44. කොහොමද මේ organization structure එකක් හදන්න කියලා අහලා තියෙනව නේද? අතීතය ගැන හිතන්න, අනාගතය ගැන හිතන්න කියලා. නේ. ඔය තමයි අහලා. Ametina, plan for the future, think about the past. So you think even strike building out. Build organizational structure, fill the people, balance authority and responsibility. Like a side to question. Okay. Challenges HR managers face. Kelim ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවනේ challenges HR managers face in IT department in IT companies කියලා ඉතින්. And how to overcome those challenges. Okay. So ඊයේ පාර මේ ටික අහලා දැන් අහන්න පුළුවන් මේවෙන් overcome කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා. So I'm just helping you guys to give you a feeling about the expectation, okay? What you are supposed to concentrate, to what level of seriousness. Because ultimately it is you going for the exam, right? Not me. Right? So that is topic 2. Right? HR issues. HR issues and HR tasks. අවුරුද්දේ නැතිව මේ අවුරුද්දේ අහන්නේ. Role of HR management in organization, major HRM activities, constraints, role of HR manager, hiring process, ඔකෙන් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනව නේද? Psychometric test මොනවා වර්ගද කියලා එහෙම අහලා තියෙන්නේ. Recruitment versus selection, right? One is shortlisting for the interviews. Second one is actually selecting through the interviews and other processes. Recruitment is basically shortlisting for the interviews. Selection is during those interview and other processes, you select which one to hire. Right? Staff training and development, remuneration policies, job evaluation and appraisal. Right? What is job evaluation schemas, what is appraisal schemas. Redundancy, dismissal. So under which kind of situation an organization can dismiss employees. What is mean by redundancy? What are the other possible? What are the reasons for dismissals? Maybe redundancy, maybe lack of competency, maybe disciplinary violation of policies and procedures. Okay. And මොනවාද මේ dismissal වල තියෙන වැරදි dismissal, unfair dismissal, constructive dismissal, wrongful dismissal. So what is mean by constructive dismissal? Anyone? දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ස්ටඩි කරලා තියෙනවා. කාටද මතක constructive dismissal එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා? So that means they don't dismiss the employee, but they do action. They take actions so that the employee feel that they don't need that guy anymore. So then it's a lot of pressure for the employee to go to work because the environment is not friendly for that particular employee. So the managers and other people they ignore you. But they have not fired you. So they try to get rid of you without firing you. That is called constructive dismissal. Unfair dismissal means you are fired for unfair reasons. Without proper reason, no unfair reason. Wrongful means mainly they don't follow the process. Like for example, if it is disciplinary thing, they need to conduct a disciplinary inquiry. Without inquiry, they can't fire. If it is because of the redundancy, so then they must follow a fair policy. Compensation, who will be fired, okay. Then statutory employment rights. Then what is outsourcing? What are the pros and cons, ethical issues? Okay. Public interest disclosures, whistleblowing, right? Contract of employees, HR planning, work-life balance, making hard to question. ඒකද පාස් පේපර්ස් කරලා ඉවරලා නෝට් එක කියවනකොට තියෙන වාසිය එකයි. ආදන්න මොන වගේ දේවල්ද වැදගත්. Okay. And I'm not going through these things. Okay. So this is hiring process එක ගැන අහන්න මොනවාද steps කියලා. Creation of staffing strategy. Creation of guidelines to promote multiculturalism at work. Actually මේක නම් මෙතනට අදාළ නැහැ තියෙනවා. Then recruitment selection. මම මේක මේ වැරදිලා විදිහට මම දන්නේ නැහැ. Creation of strategy, staffing strategy, recruitment selection. Okay. What is the difference between recruitment and selection? ඔක දැන් question එකක් විදිහට අහන්න පුළුවන්. මෙච්චර ලොකුවට slide එකක් දැම්මට පස්සේ ඔයගෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න නැති වෙයිද? And what is the difference between recruitment and selection? Okay. Right. What is my general job description, specific description? Okay. And selection processes, series of one-to-one interviews, interview by panel, assessment or references. Various psychometric testing, ability test, aptitude test, personality test, and so on. Situational assessment, task assessment. මේවන නොකළ යුතු දේවල්. So that means you select your friends, your relations. So these are the things that you are not supposed to do. Choosing your cousins, choosing your friends. Chronism. Like chronic capitalism කියලා තියෙනවා. ගජමිතුරු ධනවාදී කියලා අහලා තියෙනවා. ගජමිතුරු ධනවාදී. Chronic capitalism. යාළුවන්ට තමයි chance එක දෙන්නේ. Nepotism. ඒ කියන්නේ නෑයොන්ට තමයි තැන දෙන්නේ. රාජපක්ෂලා නේද? පවුල් වල අය ඔක්කොම හිටියේ. පවුල් වල අය තමයි ඔක්කොම කතානායක ඉඳලා යන්නේ. Cronyism තමයි මේ කවුද? රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහලාගේ තියෙන්නේ. යාළුවෝ තමයි ඔක්කොමලා. යාළුවෝ ඉස්කෝලේ කට්ටිය. So those are bad things. People don't like them. Right? People don't like that kind of things. දැන් ඉතින් අලුතෙන් ඒ වගේ අලුත් වෙන්න තියෙනද? අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එක තමයි යුනිවර්සිටි එක. ඒක එක විදිහට හදා ගන්නවා මිස්. කොහෙන් හරි කැරකිලා හදා ගන්න. Right? Staff training, advantages, importance. Okay. ඉතින් මම මේ ඔක්කොම ආයෙ එක එකට කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් දන්නවා මොනවද අහන්නේ කියලා. මොනවද අහන්නේ මොන වගේ දේවල්ද අහන්නේ නැත්තේ. මේවා දැන් අහලා නැහැ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ. මේවා දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහයි. What is unfair dismissal? Right? What is constructive dismissal? What is wrongful dismissal? ඔන්නවා දැන් ඊළඟ පේපර් වල ප්‍රශ්න. ටිකක් පස්සට ගියොත් ඒවා යහලා තියෙනවා මේවා. ඒකයි කියන්නේ past papers මේ සිලබස් එක පොඩ වෙනස් වෙනවට කවන්නේ past papers නිකන් casually කියවන්න. එතකොට තේරෙනවා මේ past papers වල තියෙනවා ආයි කැරකිලෙනවා. Statutory employment rights, අනිවාර්යෙන් employees වල තියෙන rights මොනවාද? Notice period එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන. Pay slip එකක් හම්බ වෙන්න ඕන. දැන් මේවා අහන්න පුළුවන් මොනවාද statutory employment rights employees වල තියෙන පහක් ලියන්න. Maternity and paternity and adoption leaves, time off for antenatal care, parental leaves, right to request flexible working arrangements, statutory rights. So අනිවාර්යෙන් තමන්ට තියෙන දේවල්. හරි. Then so there can be questions on outsourcing, offshoring, process, cons, ethical aspects. So I think ප්‍රශ්න තමයි ඊළඟට. Okay. Right. So there can be question on whistleblowers. ටිකක් පිටිපස්සට past papers වලට ගියොත් whistleblowing ගැන අහලා තියෙනවා. Whistleblowing means what? So when you say you are working in a particular organization and you find that they are doing some bad things, bad for the environment, bad for the society, maybe it's an illegal thing, maybe not good for the safety, maybe not good for the health of the people, customers. So then you can be a whistleblower. But you need to be very careful. You follow a process. You verify that it is issue real bad thing. ඔයාට හිතනේ විතරක් කරලා double check කරන්න. ආයෙ check කරලා බලන්න මේක ඇත්තටම වැරද්දක්ද? Then discuss this within the organization before whistleblowing. Whistleblowing and මහජනතාවට කියන එකනේ. Right. And if no one take actions, and once you verify that this is real bad thing, illegal thing, then you can do whistleblowing. So that means you disclose it to the general public or relevant authorities of the government. Okay. So what are the process, cons, precautions? Okay. Right. So then what is contract of employment? What are the features? And easy to understood, avoid legal jargons. What are the clauses? What are conditions that contract of employment can have? Right. So remember they have asked about HR plan, sales forecast, system potential project ගැන හොයලා බලන්න. එතකොට කට්ටිය ඕන වෙන්නේ. Build a pool of staff. So these work-life balance, they had asked question on this. It's a bidirectional. It affects both employees and the organization. How it affects the employees, how it affects the organization. Okay. Right. So that is your topic number. Topic number 3. Okay, topic number 3. And the topic number 4 is software licenses and contracts. ඒවා අපි ළඟදී කරේ. මම ඒවා කර වෙලාව ගන්න නෑ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ. Right. So now it's 8:50. We will start at 9 and we'll do the 2022 paper. Okay. 2022 paper. Briefly describe organization. List 2 example organizations. So organization is an entity with common objective and formal structure. Right? So organization, all the employees working towards that common objective, and it has formal structure, policies, procedures. So likewise, you need to explain what is organization is. Okay. 2 examples of organizations. So business organizations are there, non-government organizations are there, government organizations are there like ministry. So those are all organizations. Okay. Organization is a group of people working together in a formal way, like school, college, hospital, banks, and so on. Second one, identify and write down the correct commercial organization based on given definitions. Right. So anyway, the answers are there. So remember the partnership, sole trader, corporates, limited liability companies. So you should be able to do that. Okay. You should be able to do that. What is the difference between centralized company and decentralized company? So centralized company means there's a tight central control. That is a traditional organization. The decentralized companies are sometimes we call the organic companies, where a lot of emphasis on giving responsibilities and power to the lower level. So in modern competitive environment, right? So more and more decentralized companies are needed because they are very agile. They can respond quickly, right? So they can get that competitive advantage. They can move forward faster. Especially when we have a lot of professionals like software industry, decentralized companies are preferred because they are always professionals. Okay, right? So you need to explain like that. Uh, Centralized company, as much power is possible, is kept to the top of the company with delegation only when essential. Decentralized, much power and control as possible is delegated to the lower level. So why do we want to delegate? So that the decision making and uh, actions are faster. But you can do that when you have a lot of high skill, high professionals in your organization, even at the low level. Right. Next question. Structure by market sector is a structure in principle used in software industry. Discuss advantages and disadvantages of structure by market sector principle. So structure by market sector means your organization structure or different function units focusing on different market sectors. Market sectors. Software development, we heavily do that, right? Maybe one unit they concentrate on finance sector, developing softwares for finance sector. Maybe another unit they are pretty much interested in developing softwares for tourism or hospitality management, like hotels. So likewise, so marketing structure by market sector. So then they can focus on clients from that market sector. So they can have their own marketing team, sales teams, right? Because they can concentrate on that sector. And also you have domain experts in your unit, software engineers, quality assurance engineers, experts in that market sector, function domain areas. So those are the advantages. Advantages, both sales and technical staff. Remember, sales and technical staff. Sales people focusing on that sector, technical people having expertise on that area, knowledge, domain knowledge. Like to be familiar with customers' problems and each divisions can identify its potential customers. Disadvantages. So they talk about, yes, both advantages and disadvantages. So the disadvantages are maybe the team marks, the sales people are just narrow into that area. Maybe you miss some other opportunities. Maybe your technical staff is also strict with one domain area. They don't have opportunity to get into other domain areas. Maybe it's boring. They feel like they are lacking opportunities and so on. Okay. Right. Three differences between recruitment and selection. So remember the difference. Selection, recruitment means shortlist the for the interviews and so on. Selection is the broad process till you select the candidates through different tests, uh, interviews, and so on. Okay. So method used to pick qualified candidates from the short list. Sorry, other way. Sorry. Selection is short list. Recruitment is pick the correct candidate after interviews and so on. It is other way. I completely missed the two words. Okay. So selection is the narrow thing. Recruitment is the broad thing. Right. So list four main duties of HR department. Right. Recruitment, appraisals, training. Now, when you do the second paper, you should be more comfortable. Right? Any other statutory work like EPF, ETF related things. Okay. Take care of welfare and work-life balance of the employees. Social activities like trips, social gatherings and so on. Identify the correct assessment type of selection method for a given definitions, right? So that you need to read and identify, is it a psychometric test, aptitude test, okay, situational test, personality test, and so on. And here, remember we discussed about nepotism, chronism. So chronism means you favor your friends. Nepotism means you favor your relations. Right? So all these things are mentioned in your note, right? So this is not a difficult paper. Actually, this paper is also very, very good one. I think both the papers were set up by the same lecturer. Really good paper. Really, really good paper. Because what I like is they are not checking whether you memorize this and that. Rather, they check whether you have the big picture. You have that attitude. Right. Briefly describe the term whistleblowing. I explained. Right. So, say you're working on an organization and you find that your organization is doing illegal thing, unethical thing, right? Which affect the society as a whole. Because you are expert in that area, because you have the access to those details, information, you can find that there's something wrong. But maybe the general public is not aware. If this continues, others are going to suffer. So then you can disclose this to the general public or to the relevant authorities. So that is called whistleblowing. I told you when you do this, you need to double check that it is really that happens and you try to internally resolve it and nothing work, only you become a whistleblower. And there's a risk of you losing your jobs and sometimes you will not be able to stay there. So, okay. So then you must have alternative arrangements because if you are a software engineer or something, you don't have any issues because there are plenty of job opportunities for experienced, talented people. That is why, of course, in software field, usually you don't need to be a whistleblower because software field, it's very rare that illegal things like happen. But there are some industries like food technology, some industries which is sensitive to the environment. So that is where you need more and more whistleblowers. Okay. A person, often an employee who reveals information about the activities within a private or public organization that is deemed illegal, immoral, illicit, unsafe, or fraudulent. One serious uttara. Whistleblower can use variety of internal and external channels to communicate information or allegations. Right? So whistleblowing is something very serious stuff. You must take care of your responsibilities. Otherwise, you may end up with some issues. Saying if your allegations are false. Right. D. Select 5 of the 10 commandments of computer ethics. මේවා තමයි ටික අසාධාරණ question කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ reference book එකේ තියෙන මේ point පහම හරියට අහලා තියෙනවා. reference book එකේ සහ වගේ note එකේ තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔන්න කටපාඩමෙන් තමයි කියන්නේ. මේ පහම කියලා කියන එක එක්තරා විදිහට අසාධාරණයි. නමුත් ඉතින් මේ වගේ question අහලා තියෙනවා. මේ question එක තමයි සාමාන්‍ය අසාධාරණ question එකකට කොට හම්බෙච්ච එකම question එක. reference book එකේ තියෙන වගේ note එකේ තියෙන point පහ ඒකම මතකද කියලා තමයි බලන්න තියෙන්නේ. Okay. දැන් ඒකේ කියලා තියෙන විදිහට තමයි ලියන්නේ. You shall not use computer to the harm other people. You shall not interfere with other people's computer work. හරියට පන්සිල් වගේ. ඔන්න ටිකක් charter question එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි? කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ ඉතින් reference book එකේ තියෙනවා සහ ඔයාගේ note එකේ මේ ටික තියෙනවා මට මතක විදිහට. හරි? Right. So briefly describe the term conflict of interest. Right. So that is mentioned in your note. ඔකට සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ මොකද? ලබදියාවන්ගේ ගැටුම. Conflict of interest. So you have one interest conflicting with the other interest. So you must know enough examples. For example, you are supposed to conduct an interview to recruit a new employee because you are an experienced person. senior person. Now, when you go to the interview, you find that he or she is someone who you know, maybe close relation, maybe close friend. So that is a conflict of interest. So then you must withdraw from the interview and ask someone else to conduct the interview, because otherwise your company's interest is get the best person. Your personal interest is give that person a favor because he is someone who is close to you. So this can happen when you get into a contract with another business. There can be conflict of interest. Okay. So think about all the possible conflict of interest you may encounter and how do you act. Okay. You need to explain some examples. Okay. Representing a family member in a court, starting a business that competes with your full-time employer. අන්න තව එකක්. ඔයාගේ business එකෙන් ඔයා employer එක තරම් කරනවා. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. So you must have thought about what are the examples. Right. So then the third one. Right. So the third one and fourth one we'll do next time. Okay. So that means we have done one and half of the paper. So in another session, we'll do the other one and half. That means 3 papers. Okay. So we will do 3 papers, but if you need any other questions, we can do. Okay. So then professional practice is formally over. Right. So likewise, now we are closing subjects one by one. I think entrepreneurship also we did 1 paper. So another day maybe we can do one and half of the professional practice paper and other entrepreneurship paper. So then 2 subjects are pretty much over. Okay. So likewise we'll finish subjects one by one. Okay. Right. We'll stop at this point. Thank you.